How did it happen? And how was this even possible? It's official. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have officially unseated Meghan and Harry as the royalty of Hollywood dysfunction. So move over, guys. The true monarchs of public chaos have arrived, and they've come with a side of cringe so big you could serve it at the family dinner. You know that moment when something is so catastrophically awkward that you feel secondhand embarrassment to your very core, but you can't look away? Well, folks, that is the precise feeling that we all had during SNL 50, not once, but twice. And you know that feeling when someone does something so cringeworthy, so awkward, so perfectly bad that you can't look away? That's exactly what happened. It was a train wreck. It was an absolute shit show. Ryan delivered a performance so awkward, so aggressively uncomfortable that I'm convinced the only thing he was trying to sell was his complete lack of self-awareness. Kind of like another couple that we know. But let's get real. Everyone could see that this train wreck was starting to come off the tracks for probably around, 8 weeks now? Hey guys, it's IQ, and today we need to discuss it all. Exactly how it happened, what it all means, because this is a masterclass in epic proportion. And can I apologize in advance, because each offense is probably going to raise your blood pressure higher and higher as we go. It's so frustrating, but we need to go through it together. It's a roller coaster of ups and downs, and unparalleled entitlement mixed with sheer stupidity and a side of unmitigated gall. So fair warning. Now, let's get into it. It starts innocently enough. A very public high figure marries an overwhelmingly less known public figure. And most people relatively have favorable opinions of the megastar figure, in this case Ryan Reynolds and Prince Harry. And then first comes love, then comes marriage, and a few years down the road, bam, we are hit with public scandals and accusations of bullying, allegations out the yin-yang of very sensitive topics. And initially, the public support is overwhelming. But then, slowly but surely, facts start to leak, recollections start to vary, and the floodgates of truth start trickling out slowly. There are accounts from the real quote-unquote victims that start to flood social media and news outlets and word of mouth. Maybe some unofficial reporting gets leaked. And one thing remains the same. It appears to be that there is only one bully, only one problematic person and or people and or couples. And you know what? It's really hard to come back from that one. So here is Blake and Ryan. And bless their perfectly little manicured Instagram profiles, they seem to have found themselves in this elite club of celebrities who are actually more famous for being disliked than liked. And we can easily summarize probably in a few words why the world's turned on them. It's obvious. Their behavior has been pretty off-putting. But we're gonna break it down even further, because from everyone I've talked to, reading articles, scrolling through comments on social media, and piecing this all together with the not so very subtle whispers of public discontent, there are a few things that became crystal clear. And so I'm going to share them with you today. Here is the blueprint to how Ryan and Blake became Harry and Meghan 2.0. In my opinion, Megs and Blakey could be one and the same, just based on their behavior. So hear me out. Meghan Markle, with the support of her husband Harry, waged a smear campaign against the royal family. And it appeared, and this is just at least in my opinion, my theory and speculation, and Meghan has seemed to be putting the family down to lift herself up. And in doing so, also was covering up her own bad acts. You know, like being a terror, people quitting left and right at the palace. Well, the same could be said for Blake Lively. It's eerily similar. She, with the support of her husband Ryan, appeared to wage a PR campaign against Justin Baldoni, with the alleged help of the Wall Street Journal. And it appeared, at least it's in my opinion and theory and speculation, that Blake was also putting Justin down to lift herself up and to justify her own bad press from months prior. Both Blake and Ryan, and in my opinion, Meghan and Harry, they're calculating. They have proven that they are consistently analyzing situations and people to manipulate outcomes in their favor.
Ended up with an agent, getting an agent somehow, and talking bullshit some agent into taking me, and then, ended up getting a job at show business. And I bullshitted them.
I would show up on a set. I knew that they just wanted me to show up and look cute and stand on a little pink sticker where I'm supposed to go and say what I'm supposed to say. But I also knew that that wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing and the costume design and creating the character. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that once they saw that I was able to offer that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that.
And the public, they don't want to feel like pawns in someone else's game. And more importantly, they don't like to see others being taken advantage of as well. Nobody likes an undeserving scapegoat. So yeah, that was calculating. But then when you add being calculating and mix it with being disingenuous, it only compounds the problem. Now, disingenuous, it refers to pretending to be something or someone that you're not, or saying things that aren't sincere, whether it's pretending to agree with someone for the sake of convenience or offering fake compliments to gain favor. This lack of honesty makes it difficult for the public to trust you. And speaking of trust, we also have to expound upon the examples of the very well-timed Oprah interview to out the royal family, because this is really calculating. And equally so was the well-timed New York Times article to accuse Justin Baldoni was as equally calculating. And it was Ryan and Blake's Sussex moment. It really was. And what's so disingenuous about the latter two events is that it was discovered through the course of events that these versions were nothing at all like it actually happened. And in fact, in both instances with Kate and Justin, they were very proper ways of essentially outing the couples as big fat liars. The true lesson, guys, you can't lie forever. The ultimate problem with this, the public, we are not dumb. We might get duped for a little bit, but eventually the truth is gonna come out. And when people discover that the events that they were told aren't even remotely close to how it actually happened, well, that leads us to masterclass lesson number 2. So let's start with this little warning. If you ever find yourself in a hot mess of drama, feeling the heat of public opinion, and you're really trying to convince everyone that you're this misunderstood angel, remember this. Don't cry wolf. Trust me, it never ends well. And if there's one thing that we've learned from the past decade or so, especially when it comes to celebrity culture, it's that getting the public's sympathy for being wronged is an art form. And some people, they've got it down to a science. But here's the catch. If you decide to roll with the victim card for too hard and for too long, and without receipts to back it up, you will be labeled the boy who cried wolf, aka a liar, aka fibbing, embellishing the truth, not to be trusted. So let's take Blake as an example, and let me clarify, do we have her entire story? No. Could she still drop receipts disproving Justin's version of events? Of course, but for now, we haven't seen it. And as it turns out, we, the public, we really don't like being led on, especially when it comes to serious matters, and especially when they're already notoriously tricky about talking about situations like that. And the stuff that comes from societal stigmas like allegations of SA, we're talking about heavy stuff, people. Things that people don't like to be manipulated about. And as we wait for the inevitable, possible Blake dropping a folder full of truths moment, here's what's really fascinating, is that a lot of the evidence that's so far presented from Justin's side makes it look like, wait for it, that Justin might actually be the victim here. that he was the one that was actually wronged. Yep, it turned out that he was apparently terrified of dealing with her. Tons of staff behind the scenes thought that she was a nightmare to deal with, and there were even 2 assistant directors that allegedly were fired because of her. And now we cue the Meghan Markle comparison because Meghan, the poor, innocent Duchess, tells the world about how terribly mistreated she was by the royal family and the media. She had to be the victim, right? It was so unfair, you guys. She was this sweet, naive, and ever so compassionate woman who just wanted to make the world a better place. And who can forget that lovely claim that Kate, the big bad meanie, made Meghan cry right before her wedding? The outrage. And her claims about being stifled by the royal family, forced to wear only neutral colors to avoid outshining anyone else. I mean, it was like a Cinderella story. But hold up, let's think about this for a second. Meghan's now free from the royal chains of oppression, and guess what? She's still only wearing neutrals. These narratives of victimhood and manipulation and playing the sympathy card, it's a reminder of how easily people exploit sensitive topics when they know that the public's emotions about these topics are already raw. Both of these couples are currently playing the wronged and misunderstood card, and honestly, it's practically their brand right now. Meghan's got a lot of mileage out of playing the sweet angel who just wanted help, and meanwhile, Blake's kind of in the same PR boat, though she has a lot more sinking holes in her ship now. But given the receipts provided on Justin's side, at least right now, she may not be the victim after all. The ultimate question remains: are they the person that cried wolf? Are they really an innocent fawn? Or are they just a wolf in sheep's clothing? Allegedly, Blake and Ryan played the PR game extra hard, targeting Justin and the media with the help of very, very carefully placed outlets like the Wall Street Journal, because why not pull out the big guns, right? At the time, it just felt to me like a very well orchestrated strategy to put him in the hot seat while they played the role of like these misunderstood stars that were trying to be vindicated. And honestly, timing was really suspect. I mean, it was just a little bit too convenient if you ask me. Could it be that they were trying to distract us all from the whispers surrounding Blake's own alleged difficult behavior on set? Maybe to distract from the massive negative campaign against her on social media? Doesn't it seem like they attempted to control the narrative at every turn? So what's the lesson here? In the end, if you're gonna cry wolf, make sure that you actually have a wolf. And if you are the wolf, maybe it's time to come up with a different strategy, because eventually you will be outed. You don't want to be remembered as the person who used sensitive, real-world issues of the day as a springboard to sell anything, a sob story, to improve your reputation. Just don't do it, because guess what? That's a game that no one's going to win. The truth, be it ever so humble, will always come out one way or another. And as these two couples are learning the hard way, the internet may love a scandal, but it hates a liar. We all know it's true. We, the people, of course we hate liars, but we also despise gaslighters. And don't you dare roll your eyes at me in terms of gaslighting. I know it's probably the most number one overused word of 2024. Yeah, I get it. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't apply in this scenario. It's so appropriate. Gaslighting is when the gaslighter manipulates someone or even a group into questioning their own perception of reality. And normally, it's for the reason of personal benefit to themselves to do it. And let's just go over what the psychologists say. Gaslighting is a term referred to a specific type of manipulation where the manipulator is trying to get someone or a group of people to question their own reality, their memories or perceptions. And if we don't want to use the term gaslight, fine, I concede, but it's pretty much synonymous with being a big ass manipulator. And holy hell, these two couples, in my opinion, are big old master manipulators. Mastermind manipulators. Before we get into Liquid Harry and Meghan, let's do a quick refresher on one of the most egregious gaslighting blunders. It was their shocking tell-all Netflix documentary where they agonized over the unfair treatment in the media, how paparazzi were abusing and harassing them. They were hounded by the press, and in Harry's own words, he believed that Meghan suffered a miscarriage because of all the stress. She was losing sleep, she wasn't dealing with things well, and things got even more disturbing when she said this: "I didn't just see a solution. I would sit up at night and I was just like, I don't understand how all of this is being churned out." She was referring to negative articles about her that appeared in the British press. "I was really ashamed to say it at the time and ashamed to have to admit it to Harry, especially because I know how much loss he suffered. But I knew that if I didn't say it, that I would do it. I just didn't want to be anymore." And that was a very clear and real and frightening constant thought. Okay, talk about a serious topic that deserves serious respect and consideration. And naturally, people felt for her during this time. It was natural to deduce that from these moments claimed by Meghan and Harry, that most of us probably thought the best thing that they could do was step away from royal life, to step away from the spotlight, to retreat to a more quiet life, a more private life, so that the torment could stop, right? But in comes the gaslighting, where Meghan claimed that this narrative just wasn't true. During that infamous Oprah interview, she claimed that no, they never expected privacy. They just wanted basic privacy. And they believed that the media was throwing out this false narrative.
Shouldn't you have an expectation that you're going to have to lose privacy?
Well, it's two things here.
That's part of the deal.
Two things here. I think everyone has a basic right to privacy. Basic. Because I shared this one picture, that entitles you to have my entire camera roll. Go ahead, look through it. No one would want that.
I mean, what do you guys mean that you never talked about privacy? You literally sold the narrative to the world, and now you're like throwing it in the reverse? Like it's the media's fault for getting it all wrong? You can't make this stuff up. What is happening here? Are we supposed to believe the narrative that they've spent years shaping, or the revisionist history that they're suddenly pushing on us now? Classic gaslighting, if you ask me. Anyway, as frustrating as that all was, there was another couple lurking in the midst that jumped out and said, "Here, hold my beer," because in comes Blake and Ryan, this time with totally different but as equally disturbingly serious accusations. We're talking about SA harassment, improved unwanted kissing, entering her trailer unwanted, weight shaming, and then retaliation for all of that when she spoke up. And in her lawsuit filed with Justin, it was even cited that she suffered from emotional distress. So while the whole It Ends With Us debacle could be its own masterclass in gaslighting, I'm only going to focus on one major topic in this particular video. And you know what? We're also going to play devil's advocate with this. So let's say that Blake does have a huge binder of receipts and retorts that she's sitting on that shows Justin Baldoni to be an absolute predator and that she's been right all along. Let's go with that narrative, okay? Because if Blake really has gone through all of these absolutely horrific things, then her numero uno partner from day one that's been by her side through it all, her quote-unquote dragon and quote-unquote #1 stage mom, the man who summoned Justin over to his Manhattan penthouse to threaten the dude for inquiring only about his wife's weight, which he claimed was only to protect his fragile herniated disc. But that was serious enough for Ryan to be quote-unquote enraged and quote-unquote aggressive during the conversation, enough that Justin felt that he had to de-escalate the situation. So just picture that scenario in your head, okay? Why would Ryan then joke about such traumatic events about his wife? Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And this alleged traumatic event, was it really funny enough to make light of, to make fun of for casual fodder for the public? I'm personally calling bull. And I want to go over some of my side eyes, okay? Side eye number 1, Ryan, if your wife is allegedly dealing with emotional distress due to harassment, the last thing that you should do is make light of her suffering, right? Seriously, this is like laughing in someone's face when they just shared their deepest trauma. And not only that, but mimicking it on a public level and getting paid to do so, it just seems dirty. The whole world is seeing this, Ryan. And in his case, he was casually joking about these sexual innuendos with her co-star, her romantic interest in the movie, and made fun of like workplace harassment like it was just another Tuesday. And my side eye number 2, it was the whole Nice Pool debacle. Once again, allegedly making light of your wife's supposed horrific experience. I think most of us have speculated by now that Nice Pool was probably most definitely inspired by Justin Baldoni.
She just had a baby too, and can't even tell. I identify as a feminist.
There were jokes about intimacy coordinators and man buns and comments about Blake's post-baby body and monetizing a woman's movement. Well, sir, how about you monetizing a woman's suffering? I mean, if this really did indeed happen to Blake, what in the hell are you doing? And from all accounts that I've researched, it claims that the scenes from Nice Pool were filmed during the very ending of production in 2024. And conveniently, guess when Blake brought those accusations to light in her 17-point memo to Justin's HR team? You guessed it, January of 2024. Not to mention, Nice Pool gets wiped out in front of a flower shop. Shout out Lily Bloom. But are you guys ready for my conspiracy theory? Quick sidebar. Allegedly and supposedly, after Blake made her complaints known to Justin's company in January, there were supposedly no other claims or offenses that happened after that time. So if that was supposed to be the end of all the harassment, in that case, that would mean that Justin and Blake knew in January of 2024, during the filming of Nice Pool, that they intended to sue Justin. So, my people, I ask you this. If they knew in advance that they were going to be suing Justin for $400 million, then why, pray tell, would they think it would be a good idea at all to make such obviously blatant attempts at mocking him in a movie and bringing to light events that could be used and reviewed in court? It just doesn't make sense, and their lawyers would have strongly advised against not doing that. So I don't even think that they were planning on suing until that whole Blake clash happened in 2024. And I have theories about that too. We'll discuss that in a later video. But for now, the coup de grace, the eye roll of the century, is SNL 50. And holy hell, that was absolutely insane. It all started when Blake and Ryan showed up out of the blue to the show's 50th anniversary, and the world was shocked when they slithered their way onto the red carpet. I mean, guys, what in the hell are you doing there? Shouldn't you be recuperating and relaxing from this traumatic time in your lives? I mean, I know Justin and his wife were.
Would you be willing to entertain pulling double duty again in the future?
You're gonna have to ask me in a little while. We're gonna take a vacation. We're gonna take a vacation after
Going
this.
even backward.
We're not stupid. I guess we can all answer that question. Blake is probably obligated to start promoting her film that's coming out. Another simple favor. And how would she do that without an initial soft landing? I get it. So in comes her dragon to save the day and lay down the foundation, right? But the problem was that it was an epic fail on so many levels. First, the blatant defiance of, seriously, the gall of this woman to come out and make a statement wearing even more flowers. She again wore flowers on her dress when people were already saying that she was trivializing the flowers. With a serious topic like DV, defiantly, she did it again. She's letting us know, I don't give a damn. This doesn't affect me. I don't care about your words. I'm doing me. So, making an appearance on the red carpet, attempting to exude this unbothered power couple vibes. Okay, you know what? In theory, I get it. I do. That could have been your soft landing back into the media world. Fine. But no, they couldn't just stop there. They didn't. They still wanted to be part of the Hollywood elite, part of the it crowd. They wanted to show the world that, hey, we're still here and we belong. They wanted to maintain and definitely announce that they were still an A-list couple and they were here to stay. I mean, I think Kevin Costner collectively represented the spirit and the physical manifestation about how all of us feel about these two. Well, at least most of us. And bravo to you, Kevin. But once again, they couldn't just stop there. Ryan had to have a speaking role in the bit. Oh, you guys, I can't wait for the backstage drama to come out on that one, because you know how many big favors they probably had to pull to get these two on air? I bet there were squabbles behind the scenes from the cast. I bet they didn't want them there. Anyway, the world was gobsmacked when Ryan popped up during that Q&A portion of the show. I mean, why are you there? Seriously. I loved what you guys were saying. Ryan looked like he aged 30 years and 30 days. Yeah, that's because he did. Did Blake already demand a producer credit? And who is in the basement tonight? I couldn't agree with you more. But the most overwhelming sentiment was this. Boy, they sure seem to be making light of a serious situation. Not sure my husband would be able to make jokes if someone did to me what they're alleging. See, this failed spectacularly, and this is going to go down in infamy. Just like Meghan and Harry's failure to launch in the US did, just how the disaster interview with Oprah did, just like his horrific memoir in Spare did, just as Meghan and Harry's failure to launch in the US did. Blake and Ryan have officially secured their spot as the top of Hollywood's least liked list. And let's be real, it's now officially the Hollywood version of Meghan and Harry. They've got the same formula down. Throw in a dash of cringe, sprinkle on some PR disasters, and top it off with a sprinkle of public eye rolls. Voila, the new face of fame gone wrong. Look, we all know how Meghan and Harry turned their saga into a headline-generating machine. And Blake and Ryan, well, they're doing the exact same thing. If Meghan and Harry were the OGs of royal drama, then Blake and Ryan are the new kids on the block, bringing us next level awkwardness of Hollywood drama. And their PR stunts, the same script, just different cast. The whole misunderstood victim thing, copy and pasted from the Sussexes 101. But with a twist of, instead of us saying, please stop trying to sell us your book or your documentary or your jarred fruit, now we're saying, can you please stop selling us your alcohol and your hair products and your movies? The train wreck that is Blake and Ryan somehow managed to make us cringe for them, and in the process, they proved that playing the victim card without providing any receipts is a surefire way to alienate everyone, including a lot of your remaining fans. They're taking a page right out of the Meghan and Harry playbook, but minus the royal safety net. So when hits the fan, wow, it is a spectacular mess. And here's the thing, Blake and Ryan might have wanted to be Hollywood's golden couple, but now instead they've turned into modern day Meghan and Harry, except with a lot more Hollywood chaos and a lot fewer royal titles. They've somehow managed to create drama, manipulation, and scandal in a way that's almost impressive. They're so good at it. They can make a career out of being like the second coming of a media circus. But guess what? This time, no one can blame the monarchy. So good job, Blake and Ryan, for being the next Harry and Meghan. But can the world stop here? We don't need a third. You guys need to make sure you check out every single one of my deep dives on this Blake, Justin, Ryan fiasco, dragons, I mean, you name it. I highly recommend you go down the rabbit hole, how Blake and Ryan helped destroy their careers. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please comment below, because you know what? The next scandal will inevitably drop, and we're going to be here to cover it all.